echoes Your Excellency's words when you emphasized the transformative potential the African Continental Free Trade Area holds for both the continent and the region to create shared prosperity for our people. Your Excellency, the report also discusses how regional integration can contribute to safer human mobility. This includes addressing the adverse effects of climate change, natural disasters, and forced displacement, and proposes approaches to sustainable return and reintegration. Here, Your Excellency, I will be amiss not to recognize the leadership of Your Excellency in hosting the forthcoming Africa Climate Action Summit, and that of the government of Uganda, which hosted the Kampala Ministerial Summit on Migration, Environment and Climate Change, which generated the Kampala Declaration on the same topic. The centrality of access to health and cross-border health systems are also covered in the report. I'm particularly pleased that the issues of women migrants and the gender dimensions of migration have been mainstreamed throughout the report, whilst also looking at featuring a standalone report. Your Excellency, President Ruto, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored for IOM to produce this report jointly with the East African Community and the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, as both the EAC and IGAD are central to advancing regional integration and human mobility. My gratitude goes to Secretary General Peter Matuki and Executive Secretary Wokne Gebeyehu for their leadership and for their dedication to these goals. I trust that this report marks the continuation of our partnership and pursuit of these critical goals as they will shape our region for generations to come. These partnerships in particular are timely. The East African Community recently welcomed its 7th partner state, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Somalia is undergoing validation in order to become its 8th partner state. Meanwhile, IGAD is on the path to support its member states in ratifying the Protocol on Free Movement of Persons and to complete the implementation of its first phase by 2028. Your Excellency, President William Ruto, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I would like to acknowledge and appreciate the 50 experts from the region and beyond who have contributed to producing this African narrative on the region's ambitious agenda for integration, not least the editors of the volume, Mission Tadesse Abebe and Dr. George Mukundi Washira, who are in our midst. I am convinced the findings and policy recommendations of the report will be instrumental for advancing regional integration and human mobility that is safe, orderly, and regular, and that contributes to the transformation and sustainable development of the region. Your Excellency, thank you very much. Asanteni sana. I would now want to take the opportunity to welcome Ms. Fatuma Aden, IGAD Head of Mission to the Republic of Kenya, on behalf of His Excellency Dr. Wokne Gebeyehu, Executive Secretary, Intergovernmental Authority and Development.
Thank you, my brother Mohammed. Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, my sister, Her Excellency Muferehat Ahmed, the Minister of Labor, Skills and of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, His Excellency Honorable Onek, the Minister for Disaster Preparedness, refugees from the Republic of Uganda representing His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni, Your Excellencies from the Kenya government, other ministers represented here, Your Excellency Isaac Mursal, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation from the Federal Republic of Somalia, Your Excellency Dr. Peter Mutuku Mathuki, the Secretary General of the East Africa Community, distinguished representatives from the UN, my brother Mohammed, the IOM Regional Director, other ambassadors, high commissioners, members of the diplomatic community, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I want to observe all protocols. And good afternoon. Good afternoon. Excellency, sir, it gives me a great pleasure and honor to be here today representing His Excellency Dr. Workene Gebeyehu, the IGAD Executive Secretary, who has been unable to grace this historic event with you due to urgent engagement as a result of the conflict situation in our region. On behalf of His Excellency, please allow me to extend to you all his warm greetings. Excellency, sir, this is the official statement on behalf of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, Executive Secretary, regarding the launch of the State of the Migration in the Eastern Horn of Africa. Excellency, as we all know, the IGAD region is a source, transit, and a destination for migrants. The report we are launching today, Excellency, provides updated and consolidated analytical data on the state of regular and irregular mobility, including that of refugees, IDPs, irregular migrants in the region and beyond to the Middle East, Southern Africa, but also to the Northwest, to Europe. Excellency, sir, we would like to highlight that in addition to poverty and unemployment, conflict and climate change, the current war in the Republic of Sudan is having a significant impact on migration, forced displacement in our region. The latest numbers and statistics indicate that thousands of our brothers and sisters are fleeing the violence, significantly adding to the displacement burden in IGAD and neighboring regions. Please, Excellency, join me at this juncture to urge for peace in Sudan and call upon the warring parties to commit to full cessation of hostilities and establish a permanent ceasefire to allow the peaceful resolution in this conflict through dialogue. We do appreciate as IGAD so far your commitment and the leadership that the Kenya government has demonstrated. Turning to the theme of this event today, Excellency, IGAD recognizes the need for a coordinated regional migration management. As a result, IGAD designed the IGAD Regional Migration Policy Framework in 2012. This policy framework, Excellency, was endorsed by the Assembly of Heads of States and Government and consists of 12 priority areas that focuses on the net positive effect and the benefit of migration as a driver of regional integration, but also economic development of our communities, our countries, but also the region at large. Similarly, Excellency, in 2020, IGAD member states, which Kenya is a member, endorsed the protocol on free movement of persons to facilitate the progressive realization of free entry of citizens to any of the IGAD member states, the right to residence, but also establishment. Excellency, we underscore the fact that implementation of the protocol is an important instrument in expediting our aspiration towards regional integration, which Kenya is also a pioneer. The objective of the African Continental Free Trade Area is also realized, Excellency. Further, in 2021, the Djibouti Declaration on Labor, Employment and Labor Migration was another bold step which was taken by IGAD and IGAD member governments to better manage labor mobility, provide comprehensive policy guidelines to our government, social partners, and other relevant stakeholders. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the report we are launching today is unique in its scope as indicated by our brother Mohammed from IOM in its scope and depth of analysis on migration, the trends in the region, and it is a valuable instrument for policymakers and practitioners moving forward. Excellency, it is also a testament to multilateral cooperation between our two regional economic communities, that is IGAD and EAC, plus also IOM in the Horn of Africa. Excellency, we believe as IGAD that the level of analysis and evidence provided by this report is a true reflection of the state of migration in our region, and that IGAD stands ready to implement the recommendations and suggestions forwarded by the report jointly with member government and partners. IGAD reiterates its commitment at the highest level of quality, accurate, reliable, but also timely migration and displacement data analysis, and the effort of the IGAD Executive Secretary and the senior management is also, commended. Considering the multilateral nature of migration management, Excellency, we call on IGAD member governments to maintain and further strengthen the partnership, the coordination, but also the collaboration with the African Union, which is represented here, the other regional economic communities, the EU, the GCC, and other relevant agencies, plus the UN agencies, to work and follow up on the edition. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, as I conclude, IGAD extends its deep appreciation to the Kenya government for hosting this historic event, particularly Your Excellency, Excellent President William Samoei Ruto, for dedicating your time. We know you are very busy, but we appreciate your commitment to this report. We particularly thank the East Africa community for the partnering with IGAD as always and contributing to the success production of this report. As well as IOM, we say thank you very much, asanteni sana, not forgetting our development partners. We are eternally grateful for the support that we extend to our governments, but also to the regional economic blocs to ensure that our systems work together. Asanteni.
Next, Your Excellency, I'd like to call upon His Excellency Dr. Peter Muthuku Mathuki, Secretary General, East African Community, EAC, to give his remarks. We can encourage him with a clap as he now approaches the stage. Karibu sana.
Your Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Dr. Alfred Mutua, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Republic of Kenya, the Honorable Rebecca Miano, East African Community Affairs, Your Excellency Mary Hart Kamil Ahmed, Minister of Labor Skills, Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellency Isaac Mahmoud Musa, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Federal Republic of Somalia, Honorable Hilary Onek, Minister for Disaster Preparedness, Republic of Uganda, and Dr. Fatuma Eden, representing Wakene, Executive Secretary of IGAD, Mr. Mohamed, the Regional Director, IOM Regional Office, all dignitaries present or protocols. I bring you warm greetings from the East African community, Your Excellency, and wish to thank Your Excellency and the government of the Republic of Kenya for the warm reception, and most importantly, for creating time, Your Excellency, to grace the launch of the report on the state of migration in East and Horn of Africa, which is co-published by EAC, IOM, and IGAD. Your Excellency, this demonstrates, and we know you are very busy, your usual commitment to regional integration, and we want to thank you. Let me, right from the start, Your Excellency, commend Your Excellency for the transformative work that you and your government are doing to uplift the welfare of the people of Kenya and the people of East African community at large. I assure Your Excellency of the total support by the East African community as you endeavor to discharge your constitutional mandate as the President of the Republic of Kenya, but as a member of the Summit of the East African Affairs, Your Excellency. Allow me to also commend IOM for the great work they are doing in the region in supporting regional integration in terms of the technical support, capacity that they are supporting, but also policy and also operational support that we are getting from them. Your Excellency, the Horn of Africa, the East and the Horn of Africa, has historically been part of the global migration and trading networks and continues to play an important role in both. And the geographic sub-region spans a total of about 18 countries, Your Excellency, and is a home to a population of close to 500 million people. The sub-region hosts close to 8 million migrants, either in form of refugees, asylum seekers, or people looking for opportunities in the East African community. And in fact, in the East African community, we host close to 3.3 million migrants, particularly the refugees. And in this one, Uganda is the host of this with close to 1.6 million refugees, followed by Kenya with above 500, and then DRC, Republic of South Sudan, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi. But despite all the challenges that come along with this, Your Excellency, they are also positive that we get from migration. And this is particularly with the remittances, which are a very significant source of income for many families in the region. In fact, we have an estimated of close to US dollars 15 billion that is coming to the East African partner states from diaspora. And I think we need to appreciate and encourage this. And looking at the East African community, Your Excellency, how it is architecture, the 4 pillars of regional integration, the customs union deals with the movement of goods, but also the common market that deals with movement of services. And the 3rd pillar, which is monetary union and political confederation, they are all people-centric. And therefore, Your Excellency, those pillars promote actually a framework for free movement of people as provided in the Article 104 of the treaty establishing the East African community. Your Excellency, as Mohamed said, it is true. Last year, East African community admitted DRC as the 7th partner states. And I know the leadership that you are offering yourself, particularly to ensure stability of Eastern DRC, and it's something we appreciate as East African community. Your Excellency, also on the pipeline is Somalia. We have already sent a mission to do verification, and soon, Your Excellency, and I got guidance from yourself, that it is necessary we have Somalia on the board. And also we are looking forward, Your Excellency, with your guidance, to convince to your brother and talk to Ethiopia, so that now Ethiopia becomes the next member after Somalia. And I think that is the way forward. Looking at the global dynamics, America is about numbers. China is about numbers. Russia, Europe is about numbers. So the bigger and men we are in the region, Your Excellency, the more we shall become competitive in the world. So I'm looking forward to a bigger regional economic bloc that will be able now to resolve some of the economic issues that we could be facing in our region, Your Excellency. But amid this, the COVID-19 that came in, the East and the Horn of Africa, of course, imposed some level of mobility restrictions. However, we were able to register close to 2 million regular movements across. And that shows the preparedness and our commitment and, of regional integration. But, Your Excellency, what we propose and we are working on as East African community, learning from COVID, is how we can have a common facility that would manufacture vaccination in this region, so that going forward we become more prepared. And I know that is in your priority list with your colleagues, Your Excellency. I'm pleased to inform you that the East African Community Partner States, they have no visa requirements, in fact. It's only DRC we are trying to integrate them, and soon they will not be requiring visa to travel to DRC. In fact, moving from Kenya to Uganda or Rwanda, you need a national ID. And we are working towards ensuring that all countries within East Africa, you just need your national ID and you move freely. And therefore, Your Excellency, as well, the one-stop border post. And in your many speeches, you have also told us, we need a borderless East Africa. And putting the one-stop border post, they have facilitated movement of people, but also goods. And this is something we are working on. We have always enhanced digitalization of operations to facilitate safe access of wealth for people who are moving across. But also we are working on legal framework that would allow an environment for labor mobility in the region. Your Excellency, the deeper understanding of the role of human mobility vis-a-vis regional integration is never more urgent than now. And I think this report that you are launching today, Your Excellency, will be so critical. And I assure you that ourselves as East African community, we are optimistic that practitioners and policymakers will make use of the recommendations coming from the report, Your Excellency, so that we become strong together. Finally, I underscore East African Community's commitment to continue working with all of you and partner states and our development partners to support our countries in the region to implement recommendations of the report. I thank you, and God bless all of you, Excellency.
Next, Your Excellency, allow me to now invite His Excellency Isaac Mohamud Mosau, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the Federal Republic of Somalia.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors, distinguished guests, good afternoon, and all protocol observed. It's a great honor and privilege to participate in the launch of the State of Migration in East Africa, East and Horn of Africa report. On behalf of the Government of the Republic of Somalia, I would like to acknowledge the effort and contribution of IOM in collaboration with the ECA and IGAD in advancing regional integration and human mobility through the region. In light with this question, I would like also to detail Somalia's progress concerning cross-border movement within the region, continent, cooperation with the regional economic community and member states. Your Excellency, in assessing with the Federal Republic of Somalia for the readiness of the joint East African Community, a verification mission was launched in 25 January 2013 in Mogadishu, in addition to offering a crucial regional forum for working collaborative on Somalia's challenges, formulating solutions with our leaders. Somalia's strategic location linking to African and Arabian Peninsula shall boost the East African economic through the cross-border trade by enhancing status of the market driven by the independent. The provision of East Africa market protocol bring ambitious proposal to accelerate economic growth and development for further strengthening regional integration. Your Excellency, the IGAD regional protocol on free movement of the persons was signed by the government of the Federal Republic of Somalia on March 5th, 2023. The protocol is also permanent to promote regional integration through the free movement of the people, goods, and free trade among the IGAD members by recognizing the ability to mitigate the impact of the conflict, poverty, unemployment, drought, and other national disasters. The Federal Republic of Somalia remains committed to increasing intergovernmental trade and improving lives of the East African within the region and continent beyond, and further recognizes International Organization for Migration for their heading the role. The launch of the ground-breaking report denotes transformative potential of the collaborative cooperation in addressing regional integration and human mobility. Your Excellency, allow me to also thank the government of Kenya and for hosting this important event that we are today here launching for the report of the State Migration East and Horn of Africa report. I thank you all.
Thank you very much. And our second last speech before we invite the Prime Cabinet Secretary to invite His Excellency. We have His Excellency Moferhat Kamil Ahmed, Minister of Labor and Skills in the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Kindly let's encourage her with a hand clap as she approaches the stage.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, my fellow ministers, ambassadors, high commissioners, and members of the diplomatic community present, distinguished guests, all protocols observed. Good afternoon. On behalf of the government of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, I would like to thank His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, for hosting us today at this important event. I would also like to extend my sincere appreciation and gratitude to IOM, EAC, and IGAD. I'm glad that I joined you today representing my Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Mr. Demek Amekonnen. He sends his warm greetings to you all. As we all know, migration trend in Eastern Horn of Africa continues to be dynamic and complex. As our region deals with migration and mobility characterized by mixed flows, including irregular migration, forced displacement, climate-induced migration, refugee movement, as well as labor migration. With such dynamic mobility in the region, cooperation between and amongst countries in the region has become more crucial and inevitable than ever before. We've also taken a much-needed step as a region to spread and champion regional and continental integration as a way to respond to the socio-economic development opportunities that come with migration and expand on the prospects for our people in the region and across the continent. For Ethiopia, as well as for countries in the region, migration will continue to be a reality. Considering our member states' socio-economic status, natural and human-made factors affecting migration, and the nature of human mobility as it is, we will continue to witness migration in the region across the continent and beyond. The State of Migration in Eastern Horn of Africa report we're launching today is an important initiative which not just shows the migration trend in the region, but outlines the different aspects, opportunities, challenges, and prospects around migration and human mobility. We are all aware that interconnection between migration and human development is an important opportunity we should harness and benefit from as part of our regional integration agenda. Our region and the African continent at large has a wealth of young, dynamic and vibrant youth who are eager to move freely and contribute to the development of their communities. It's up to us as governments and regional institutions to help them achieve their goal by making mobility safe, easy, accessible, and efficient. Facilitating human mobility goes hand in hand with ensuring our regional security. As much as it is an important source of opportunities for our people and the countries at large, migration, if not properly governed, is also understandably a source of concern. In this regard, we should continue to work together and unite our force and collective power in addressing our region's security challenge. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the government of Ethiopia, in the effort to improve labor migration governance and management and to curb irregular migration, has been undertaking a range of policy and legislative measures and institutional arrangements. Some of these efforts include enacting on Overseas Employment Proclamation, adopting the Prevention and Suppression of Trafficking in Persons and Smuggling of Migrants Proclamation, joining different regional and continental consultative process on migration, signing the Protocol on Free Movement of Persons held in November last year in Khartoum, Sudan, chairing the Regional Ministerial Forum on Migration that aims to harmonize labor migration policies in Eastern Horn of Africa, which was conceived and well nurtured during Kenya's chairpersonship and now showing considerable progress in the last 1 year of Ethiopia's chairpersonship. As reviewed in our recent ministerial forum held in March this year in Addis, I have to acknowledge here the huge support of the regional in-country office, IOM, particularly the leadership of my brother, Mohammed Abdulkair. Excellency, and ladies and gentlemen, Ethiopia continues to support the implementation of African Union in IGAD's free movement of persons protocols, as well as the African Continental Free Trade Area, as a way of facilitating the realization of easy, fast, and efficient movement of people, goods, services, and capital. It is in this spirit that my country and my ministry wholeheartedly welcome the state of migration in the Eastern Horn of Africa report that touches on some of the important steps we should take to benefit from migration to its fullest and exploit its potential. Excellencies, as I conclude, I would like to congratulate IOM, IGAD, and EAC for producing the first ever report on the state of migration in Eastern Horn of Africa. On behalf of my government, I encourage all three institutions and other relevant actors to continue producing such reports regularly, as it is going to be an important source of information for policy formulation and driving the regional integration agenda. Once again, I would like to thank our host, Your Excellency, the President and people of Kenya, for having us in this beautiful city of Nairobi. Amesegnalo, asante sana. Thank you so much.
Asante pia kwa hiyo hotuba yako. Next, I would like to invite Honorable Hilary Obaloker Onek, Minister for Disaster Preparedness and Refugees in the Republic of Uganda. Welcome.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, Dr. Mutuku Mathuki, Secretary General of the East African Community, Your Excellency, Dr. Workne Gebeyehu, Executive Secretary, IGAD, Your Excellency, Mr. Mohammed Abdulkair, Regional Director, International Organization for Migration in East Africa and the Horn of Africa, Your Excellency, Ministers, Chief of Mission, IOM Kenya, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, allow me to extend warm greetings from His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, who delegated me to represent him at this important occasion. I would like also to express my delegation's appreciation for the courtesies extended to us since our arrival here in Nairobi. Your Excellency, today we have gathered here to launch a report on the state of migration in our region. Migration should be a positive phenomenon, as many of us here historically are products of migration. I truly understand the challenges faced by migrants in the diaspora and appreciate the contribution migrants make to the development of both their host countries and also their country of origin. As we launch this important report, I take this opportunity to congratulate the IOM, East African Community, IGAD, upon compiling such a comprehensive report on the state of migration in the East and Horn of Africa. While we have not yet been able to internalize the report fully, we received it today, I have no doubt that it depicts the immigration situation in the region accurately. It will be good for us to again continue this kind of meeting to internalize and implement whatever positive aspects of this report and enrich it if necessary. The government of the Republic of Uganda will be ready to work closely with our counterparts in the region to ensure that the recommendations stated herein are analyzed and implemented. Your Excellencies, Your Excellency may be aware, countries in East Africa and Horn of Africa are well known for their generosity in hosting migrants. But for example, during the Second World War, most of our countries hosted European migrants. Uganda hosted Polish refugees in Masindi and also in Mukono districts. The Jewish refugees were also hosted in Bale district. And today, some Africans there are calling themselves Jews, so I don't know how it happened. But the trend continued even in this later period. Uganda, for example, currently hosts over 1,530,000 refugees. Uganda experiences various inward movement for political, economic, education, and health reasons. Ugandans too move out of the country for similar reasons, related reasons, with economic reasons being more prominent. Your Excellency, the dilemma our countries are facing currently is on unemployment opportunities for the youth of our countries. We have a young but productive population in economies which has limited opportunities. Migration, therefore, has become an avenue to partially solve this problem. Uganda supports the view of making migration more safe and regular. Uganda supports efforts to provide protection of African migrants abroad, be it in the Middle East or elsewhere. Therefore, the proposals by the African Union to dialogue with the Gulf countries on freedom and rights of African migrants are a welcome initiative. This region should work closely to ensure that citizens of Africa are respected, protected, and supported to harness their full potential wherever they are, because that is not the situation today. As I conclude, Your Excellency, allow me to extend my personal appreciation and commend you for the commitment you have exhibited towards peace and the integration of Africa. Kenya is at the forefront of continental integration and free movement. We are really grateful for that initiative, leadership, Your Excellency. We look forward to your relationship, we look forward to your leadership and dismantling the artificial boundaries that hinder the full potential of this whole region and ultimately Africa. I thank you very much, Your Excellency, and the members. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. At this point, allow me to invite the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, to make some remarks, and in turn, invite the Head of State, His Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Karibu.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, distinguished heads of delegations that are present here today, my colleague Cabinet Secretaries, Mutua and Miano, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be very brief. We are all migrants at some stage. Listening to our brother from Uganda, it means that if you go back into history, we'll all have come from somewhere. I was listening to the President a few days ago, and he said, I may have been from Congo. My ancestors, that is. But, Your Excellency, very briefly, I think this is an important occasion because migration is not a bad thing. But I think the challenge we have is when we talk of involuntary migration or forced migration. That is what should really concern us even more. And it is an issue that we need to tackle, and this report perhaps will help us develop solutions going forward. Host communities are usually impacted, and the impact can either be positive or it can generate hostilities, and we see aspects of xenophobia and that kind of challenge. We also see migrants making big contributions to their host communities, and we also have challenges of relocating or resettling all the people who migrate, particularly if they're forced. So it is something that we all need to have addressed from a common platform that fosters humanity, human rights, and brings all of us together. So with these few remarks, Your Excellency, let me now request the members who are here to be upstanding so that we can invite His Excellency the President to come and make his remarks and launch the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take our seats. Asante sana. Let me, on behalf of the government and people of Kenya, welcome our friends and brothers from our region, both in the East African community and IGAD. Welcome to Nairobi. We look forward to hosting you, and congratulations to IOM for putting this report together, a report about migration, the status of migration in our region. 2 days ago or 3 days ago, we were having this conversation as to who came from where. And migration is not a new phenomenon. It's been here with us for a long time. In fact, communities, societies, and nations are products of people moving from different parts. They are actually products of migration of one form or another. My good friend, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, speaks the same language to a great extent with people in Burundi, people in Rwanda, and to good measure, the language I speak, people in Sudan and other areas up north speak the same language, meaning that we arrived here, all of us, from somewhere. And therefore, we must not give credibility or credence to the artificial boundaries that exist in our region, a product of a conference in Berlin that had nothing to do with us, that partitioned our continent and allocated us boundaries that have since become roadblocks and impediments and barriers to the movement of people, the movement of goods, and it is our responsibility in this century to tear down the barriers, to convert the boundaries into bridges, to change the roadblocks into stepping stones so that goods, services, ideas, people can move and we can benefit from the myriad of good ideas in different parts of our continent. And not work against nature. I think the drive of nature is that humanity is continuously on the move. That is why I am glad to join you and the International Organization for Migration in the launch of this highly informative report, The State of Migration in East and the Horn of Africa. This report is the fruit of a successful collaboration between IOM, the East African Community, and IGAD, and I am delighted to confirm that they have produced a highly useful document that will certainly go a long way in enhancing our understanding of the complex and dynamic nature of migration in our region. It is a comprehensive overview and an astute analysis of the migration trends and patterns. It is a timely addition to the common knowledge base of policymakers and practitioners in their quest for evidence-based insights to define the formulation, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of public policy in connection with human mobility and human migration. A distinct accomplishment of this report is the way in which it has successfully built the connection between human mobility and our most important domestic and regional aspirations, thereby ensuring that various dimensions of migration as a phenomenon are not addressed in isolation from other policy priorities. This nexus of policy and migration trends and what that portends for movement of people, movement of ideas, economic growth is a very, very welcome insight from this report. I therefore commend the entire team which worked on the production of the report for highlighting the nexus between human mobility and economic development and the positive role that migration plays in regional integration. Throughout human history, people have always moved near and far in search for opportunities to improve their livelihoods through trade and employment. This has enabled societies to exchange goods as well as labor and skills. Additionally, the existence of the diaspora has made tremendous contribution in increasing the confidence and deepening bonds between communities and nations. This happens even today. Our region's momentum towards a common market and our progress towards a federation has been powered by the confidence, solidarity, and fraternity that has deepened among the citizens of our countries because of living and working in close proximity amongst one another. And as has been said here, we welcome our sister nation of Somalia to join the East African community. We are looking forward to Ethiopia, Sudan, with all the challenges, to come on board so that we can build a stronger, bigger, and hopefully much prosperous region. The ability of people to move across borders makes it possible for trade in goods and services, facilitating wealth creation and socio-economic development. To the extent, therefore, that we are committed to socio-economic transformation and regional integration, we are equally irreversibly invested in human mobility. It is not possible for us to have a conversation about regional integration. It is difficult for us to have a conversation about Africa Continental Free Trade Area and trade without a conversation about human mobility. It takes people, ideas, opportunities to connect countries and to connect regions. And essentially, that is what human mobility speaks to. The development of our regional economic communities like the EAC and IGAD has highlighted the importance of human mobility and consequently given greater attraction and high importance to the need to ease the movement of people, unlock trade barriers, and address persistent challenges to integration. As a country, we have taken the policy decision that any African from any part of our continent is free to come to Kenya without acquiring visa prior to the visit. We can give them a visa at the airport. Because continuously, it is necessary for us to eliminate barriers to movement of people. Because with barriers to movement of people comes barriers to ideas and opportunities and any other good that may come with movement of people. It is not correct to use 1% of people who may not be moving for good intention to block 99% of the people who move for good intention. The management of migration also matters because it provides us with the opportunity to take care of the needs of migrants and integrate greater inclusion in order to promote equality and empower especially women and young people. As a nation, Kenya welcomes this hugely significant development in the right direction because we have a proud history of supporting human mobility to the extent of welcoming refugees to our land. As a consequence, we presently host over 500,000 refugees and asylum seekers. We are in constant partnership with local and international organizations, including the UNHCR, International Refugee Council, Danish Refugee Council, and World Food Programme to provide refugees with the essential services of shelter, food, healthcare, and education. Through the comprehensive refugee response framework, the government of Kenya seeks to promote self-reliance within both the refugee population and the host communities. We take pride in our commitment to the protection and assistance of refugees, as well as the progress we have made in promoting this agenda. More critically, we appreciate with gratitude and partnership the partnership of organizations like the UNHCR, IRC, DRC, and WFP, whose support has been consistent and invaluable. As long as refugees are on our land, we are committed to ensuring that they are treated with dignity, provided with necessary support, considered and even involved in national development plans in order to facilitate their successful integration. Kenya is also a signatory to the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly and Regular Migration, which commits us to involve all relevant stakeholders at the national, county, and community levels in ensuring the implementation of obligations to facilitate human mobility. The IOM's outreach program on migration is a welcome effort to prioritize the mainstreaming of migrant interests and human mobility considerations into national and county national development agendas. Thorough stakeholder engagement is vital for promoting greater understanding to facilitate such mainstreaming of migrant populations in our development programs. I therefore commend the IOM for the outreach effort and encourage you to extend cover technical assistance and capacity building in order to appropriately empower all stakeholders. I am delighted to see that the report also covers a very helpful detail, the existential threat of our time, that is climate change, which is a pressing matter of human safety and human security. Climate change causes extreme climate phenomena and erratic weather, which occasion drought and famine on one end and flooding and waterborne epidemics on the other. These catastrophic events are direct and indirect drivers of forced human mobility with potential to set off or escalate conflict. We have designated a dedicated State Department to deal exclusively with environmental and climate change, and its foremost priority is to support the government in formulating policies and implementing strategies to address the adverse effects of climate change, which frequently leads to forced migration and displacement, and of course, the climate refugee phenomena. I want to say that, as the report rightly indicates, climate change cannot be tackled by one country alone, and therefore a regional approach is an imperative. And as a result of that, I will be hosting between September 4th and September 6th the Africa Climate Action Summit that will bring the continent together so that we can make our contribution as a continent to this very important debate on the existential threat that humanity faces because of climate change. We have taken the position that though we are victims, we have made the least contribution to climate change. Victimhood will not define the position of Africa, because we want to be active players and we want to contribute our ideas in solving this existential threat to humanity. And hopefully we should be able to make our contribution in terms of ideas, because we believe that climate change presents an opportunity to the African continent to be able to leverage the assets that we have, the huge energy resources, geothermal, solar, wind, hydro, huge resources, and our mineral resources, together with our growing market of close to 2.5 billion people by 2050. And also our youth dividend that we can provide the labor for the globe. And that conversation is the conversation we want to have. In fact, we should be least worried about the current migration trends. We know there is a problem of migration to Europe through the Mediterranean. I dare say that's a very temporary problem. Migration will be in the opposite direction shortly. It won't be long. I must take this opportunity to congratulate my brother, elder brother at that, the President of Uganda, His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni, for pioneering the landmark Kampala Ministerial Declaration on Migration, Environment and Climate Change, which was signed by 15 states, including Kenya, in July last year. It is my pleasure to reaffirm the government of Kenya's full support to the declaration. As I have said, I will be pleased to host in Kenya the Africa Climate Summit in September this year. This is expected to help Africa solidify its common continental position ahead of the UN General Assembly's Climate Action Summit and COP27, and to secure concrete actions towards a just transition to an African era of clean, green industrialization. I am very clear in my mind that Africa can make a huge contribution to this debate. I also want to say that as a continent, it is our responsibility to deal with the challenges that exist in our region. We are happy as Kenya to participate in stabilizing Eastern DRC with the challenges of conflict in DRC. We are working with our brothers and sisters in Somalia to ensure that even as the drawdown of the troops that is expected by next year, we have a concrete plan on how Somalia is going to move on as a state. And also, many of us are seized with the challenge that we have in Sudan at the moment. And as a region, and as a continent, and as a people, our message to the generals in Sudan is clear and unequivocal. They have no business whatsoever destroying the hard-earned years, many years of developing Sudan. The bombing of buildings, hospitals, and infrastructure is unacceptable. Those generals have no business, they have no reason destroying a country that has been built painstakingly by the people of this continent, by our brothers and sisters in Sudan, and we will hold them accountable. They have absolutely no reason to destroy people's business, people's livelihoods, cause unnecessary chaos and mayhem when the quarrel can be solved by dialogue, by a conversation, and we are determined to stop our continent from the slide into military rule. This continent is ready, and we are prepared as the people of this continent to build our democratic institutions and to get the people of this continent to choose the government they want. The era of military rule, the era of dictatorships is behind us. And we want to send a very clear signal to our brothers in Sudan that this continent will not entertain any military rule in Sudan. The transition that had been painstakingly worked on by many stakeholders, that was disrupted by saboteurs and spoilers at the tail end on just one issue of the integration of the RSF and the SAF. We cannot allow a small disagreement to take away the hard-earned gains, the painstaking agreements that have been reached. And that is why today there is a meeting of IGAD. We have been building a coalition of many partners across the globe to stop the slide in Sudan. And Kenya, we will be playing our role because we owe it as a duty of responsibility to our brothers and sisters in Sudan as members of our continent. And that is our position. I want to thank IOM and my good brother here, Mohammed, for being one of the front runners in supporting our common effort in building a sustainable future for all, and for ensuring that the mobility dimensions are well integrated in our efforts to tackle climate change, amongst all the other challenges that we face. Once again, I commend the authors, contributors, editorial and production teams for the thorough work that has made this fine publication, The State of Migration in East and the Horn of Africa, possible. I invite the relevant policymakers in the region to use the report's analysis and policy suggestions to enhance economic development and advance regional integration through their human mobility dimensions. It is now my pleasure to declare the report on the state of migration in East and the Horn of Africa launched. Thank you very much. And God bless you. Asanteni sana.
One more round of applause for His Excellency for that wonderful speech. And at this point, Your Excellency, with your permission, would like to have the report officially handed over to you by the Regional Director, IOM. So if we can kindly just come on stage, Director, so that you can hand over the report to His Excellency. And then in turn, we'll have the reports also handed over to a few other stakeholders. And after that, we'll have a photo before we wind up. So, Your Excellency, kindly, with your permission, you can come and receive the report as we give him a round of applause. As the report